I'm Hugo van der Merwe. I'm the Director of Research, Learning and Knowledge at the Center for the Study of Violence and Reconciliation.
When we talk about transitional justice issues in the African context, what does this mean?
Transitional justice in the African context is an attempt to deal with the legacy of past violence, both in relation to periods of repression and authoritarian rule, but also in terms of dealing with the consequences, the legacies of war and mass violations that happened during war.
And what is the role of your organization in transitional justice issues?
The Center for the Study of Violence and Reconciliation has been involved with promoting transitional justice originally in South Africa, where we were directly involved with the Truth Commission process and also the range of other reparative measures and judicial measures to deal with the apartheid violations. And from there, for the last 15 years, we've been engaging with partner countries across Africa, working with civil society and with governments and with regional organizations to develop appropriate responses to transitional justice challenges in each of those countries. So it has been a process of not learning just from the South African experience, but sharing experiences amongst these different countries and finding out what is a particularly African or appropriate responses to African problems that draw on local resources and particular challenges for rebuilding societies after these conflicts.
What does it or what will it take to achieve transitional justice in Africa?
I think transitional justice is almost an impossible task. We're trying to repair the harm that was done by years and decades and sometimes centuries of conflict and violence. It involves everything from dealing with the colonial legacies, the economic exploitation, the cultural repression of those periods, but also recent events where tens of thousands of people have been killed, and it's an impossible situation to repair. We can do what's in as much as is feasibly possible with somewhat limited resources to undo some of that damage and to try and reimagine societies in a way that seeks to rebuild from where we're at this point.
Which various stakeholders have you been working with across the African continent?
CSVR has been working with the whole range of stakeholders that take an interest in transitional justice. That is everything from victims, organizations, and local communities who struggle with these problems, to civil society, national political actors, members of parliament, regional organizations, but also international organizations. There's a number of international human rights organizations, donors who all involved. And it is trying to also bring people together, because sometimes these are very competing interests with different agendas about what should be achieved. So it requires a lot of dialogue to bring people and to build a consensus about the way forward.
Can we unpack the continental model for transitional justice?
CSVR has been working with the African Union specifically on developing or assisting the African Union on developing its transitional justice policy, where there's a recognition that there are common problems faced by all of these countries, and that these problems need a normative solution. We can't reinvent the wheel constantly, and we can't simply allow political solutions that do not take into account the responsibility of states towards victims, the responsibility of states for peace and justice. So these are normative arrangements to make sure that states are held accountable for their legal responsibilities. And these are solutions these are norms that are particularly African. While drawing on international norms, we need to make sure that we speak to the African values, the African history of engaging with conflict resolution.
Final words on your engagement with the Pan-African Parliament.
We've, in the process of building African transitional justice approaches, the Pan-African Parliament is a key role player, both in terms of ensuring that there's a regional process that ensures accountability, that we have norms that the whole continent ascribes to and is held accountable to, but also in terms of a forum that shares the experiences, because we have dozens of countries in Africa who've gone through transitional justice, who've developed lessons, who've developed resources and skills, and these need to be shared amongst each other. We shouldn't be relying on solutions that are imported from elsewhere. We have many options, many experiences that we can share with each other.
Thank you, sir.